The CELS VR program continues to evolve quickly. In 2020, we had one cohort, and here in 2021, we are in the process of participating and engaging with the first of 3 cohorts. I have to underline that this program is simple, and it's designed to coach, promote, and connect quality Canadian life science companies with investors in the Bay Area and the US West Coast. Also, the next stage of the VR program is to be the showcase. Hopefully, with the taming of the pandemic, CELS is looking forward to presenting a live showcase in 2022 and aim to make this a premier event, which would ultimately be a must-attend annual event for early-stage investors to view and connect with high-quality Canadian companies. I'm sensitive to time, but I want to thank, and I will continue to thank our sponsors for spurring us on, and all the contributors that make events like this, and the various aspects of the VR program, notably the mentors, the judges, and the sales team for making this a valuable and a relevant program for Canada's early stage life science companies that are seeking to make inroads in the Valley. At this time, I'd like to introduce Brandon Lee, who is Consul General at the Consulate General of Canada for Pacific Northwest up in Seattle. He is a friend to CELS and instrumental to the founding of CELS while he was Consul General in San Francisco. I'd like to introduce or pass on the mic, so to speak, to Brandon, who will share a few opening remarks.
During this pandemic year, US VC activity is still setting records. So even in 2020, we had $156 billion in deals, which topped 2018 and 2019, in fact. Just in the Pacific Northwest, funding from 2020 is over $4.4 billion already, and that's up 15% year over year. What we're seeing when we look at 2021, it's already at 92% for this year already, and we're only in July. Seattle area startups are setting new records for Q1 funding. They've already fundraised $1.6 billion through 88 different deals, and that's up over $600 million already in just Q1. So you can see it's very busy, and VC investment has not stopped. And as Richard mentioned in the introduction, so I was Consul General to San Francisco and Canada's ambassador to Silicon Valley, and seeing CELS and the incredible work that they're doing. It's exactly the kind of support and networks that entrepreneurs such as yourselves need to engage within our territories.
We have an innovative platform to address this problem. We have a blood collection, which is a regular blood collection, 2.5 mils, which is stable for transport, a simple readout, positive or negative for breast cancer. It's a unique whole blood test with gene expression with AI-informed software. So it's not DNA, cell-free DNA-based approach, and it's a scalable platform. You can use this for multiple cancers and other indications. It also addresses a worldwide market opportunity.
To address this, we have 2 solutions, Iomic and Cytesia. Iomic is our proprietary software platform that allows us to rank and prioritize combinations for drug development, target discovery, and companion diagnostics. And Cytesia, a novel platelet-based class of drugs that allow us to deliver virtually any 2 types of cancer drugs, small biologics, small molecules, antibodies, exclusively to the cancer site, bypassing toxicities and other side effects. This means that patients can remain socially and economically active during treatment with a durable response.
So the technology is a blend of 2 polymers, hyaluronan and methyl cellulose. These can be blended together, and what it enables us to do is inject a therapeutic to a target site. It will gel locally, localize the therapeutics to that site, and therefore improve the efficacy. So with our material, we can improve efficacy and also improve safety of the molecules.
Well, your network is everything. And I like to say your network is your net worth, because you never know who in our entrepreneurial system, we often call it an ecosystem, will lead you to the next investor, to a vendor you may need, or to something that can help your business. And I'm a big believer in paying things forward. We have to help each other in the healthcare system. And so you've got to look at every person you encounter as someone who you can potentially network with. They can help you and you can help them. And you really have to leave no stone unturned. Fundraising, even in this great climate with abundant funds, really requires that you cast your net very wide to find the right investor for your company, investor and group of investors. So you always have to spend time nurturing your network. I think that you have to be really tenacious as an entrepreneur. All of the people on this call are that way, or they would not have chosen to be in a startup. There's a lot of ups and downs in it, great days and not so great days. And you have to remember you're in it for the long haul. I always say, a very wise mentor of mine many years ago at Guidant told me, people do things for other people, not organizations. So you remember that. It's, what you do for other people and how you treat them and, help them in this process, that this really matters to all of us.
So Paradox, we're a biotech company that creates antibodies for chronic and life-threatening diseases caused by protein misfolding. These diseases have long considered incurable and without treatment options, but we at Paradox are ready to change that. So at Paradox, we use a proprietary platform that has a proven track record of success for developing antibodies that target misfolded proteins, a platform with a potential application to up to 30 diseases caused by protein misfolding, including those classified as amyloidosis.
As you know, drug development is a 10 years long process characterized by high failure rate of clinical trial, costing more than $20 billion each year to the pharma industry. To reduce these losses, pharma need to identify the reason why patients with the same disease respond differently to treatment. So my name is Sarah Jenna. I'm the CEO of My Intelligent Machines. And at MIMS, we develop augmented intelligence software leveraging systems biology to increase drug development efficiency. MIMS collaborative platform allows pharmaceutical companies to upload patients' data in secured cloud computing infrastructures distributed worldwide, and to get access to a large collection of patient data collected by MIMS from public repositories and through partnerships.
Our vision is to create this decentralized, encrypted, robust data hub, which will collect information in the form of medical information, lifestyle and IoT data, and genetic and other healthcare data that forms the entire healthcare history of a patient. Running predictive AI through this and being able to securely share this through an easy to share access code with either any care provider, whether it is on a virtual platform or in an in-person clinic, or with a family member or a caregiver, or for personal use. You can call this like a personal health history, or like a patient-centric digital health library. Or even in even simpler terms, it could be the story of your health journey.
It was an eye-opening experience working with Hatem and Joanne and CELS program. Very intelligent, very innovative approaches to the market. Our job here is basically, being Canadian. So I have dual citizenship, but being Canadian as well, I feel like this is kind of a community duty to give back in a way or another. We've seen very intelligent minds, very intelligent approaches to different problems, and absolutely, I'm part of a venture. So whenever there's an opportunity for us to invest, we will take the lead on that. But also feel free to reach out to me if you think that an advice will help or accelerate your efforts to fundraise.
I think there's a couple takeaways to this slide. Just to give you context, this is looking at dollars invested into companies by sector in the US and Europe. And I think a couple things to note, during the pandemic, we actually saw growth in investments in 2000. And that was sort of punctuated by Q3, where we actually saw a record investment dollars of about $15 billion that were invested into companies by investors in just that quarter, which was a record. And we saw a little bit of a pullback in Q4 and was nearly not quite sure what 2021 was going to provide. But what we saw in Q1 was just an explosion of investment into the sector, really driven by health tech and biopharma that drove it to a new record dollars of about $23 billion. Obviously blowing away the quarter record that was in Q3 and just showing the amount of capital that are going into companies, both in Series A and later stage. And then the spoiler alert on Q2 is, well, was it going to go down, stay the same, go up? It's kind of hard to build on that kind of a record, but Q2 actually went up about $600 million to 23.7, I think. So we had basically a $47 billion first half of the year, which is almost equaling the total record that we invested into companies in all of 2020.
My 2-second answer on this one, I would say COVID per se, for instance, we haven't seen, or maybe I haven't seen any major uptick in, for instance, vaccine companies or those kinds of things. I haven't seen that because they're a complicated place to do. I think it has had to my experience, and I'm mostly a biotech guy, as we all know, but two major changes. The first one, which is huge, is this transition to virtual or hybrid care, and a ton of companies in that space. And then they also touch the statistics of John are fantastic, but John's colleague also do statistics for IT, and there's a lot of IT funds that are in that space, and that's an amazing. And it's like an amazing thing that's happening. We see a lot less of that in Canada because the system is controlled by single payers across provinces, but it's in the US, it's a tsunami of deals. That would be number one, I would say. Number two would be what I would call the resurgence of diagnostics. So diagnostics is a sector where biotech individuals like me were kind of hesitant, right? It was an oligopoly of players, difficult to commercialize, almost as costly to show in the clinic as a drug, and you don't have the upside in the end. So why should you do that? And so I think the diagnostics, there is quite a bit of an influx of new diagnostics modalities, as well as content in diagnostics, not necessarily financed necessarily by the core biotech people, but by a lot of the tech and mixed funds. We see a lot of that. And I think these things are probably there to stay, because finally they will allow innovation in the diagnostics away from another test that you run on a Roche machine, for instance, which was the case before. I'll leave it at that.
1 in 3 people experience anxiety, and 1 in 10 actually suffer from claustrophobia, which could lead to a complete withdrawal from an MRI exam. Now, in terms of the economic burden, not only does this reduce patient comfort and participation in MRI exams and leading to loss in revenue for clinics, we actually estimate that claustrophobia costs about $500 million of revenue for these clinics in US per year. Now, what we've developed, as Hatima said, is a wireless TV that delivers entertainment straight to the patient inside of an MRI machine that helps to calm them down and reduce anxiety. We leverage our expertise in active electronics in order to be able to do this. It does not interfere with the MRI imaging, and it basically is invisible to the MRI.
We've developed Velicor, which is the first handheld breakthrough device, which provides comparable results what you have in MRI. We have our FDA clearance. Last year, we are reimbursable using existing ultrasound reimbursement codes, and also have the option to be increasing reimbursement even later with the FDA breakthrough status. We're accurate as MRI, accessible in all settings because we're point of care, handheld ultrasound, and our payback period, because we are a service SaaS model. So payback for offices is a little 2 months. And you can delegate to an MA medical assistant, which can be performed the procedure in little as 5 to 7 minutes. So it's really scalable for specialty primary care offices.
In minutes, our patented light-activated microbial stain destroys bacteria, viruses, and fungi, preventing them from being transmitted to wounds, surfaces, and other individuals. SteriWave provides immediate efficacy, including against superbugs, generates no resistance, and disinfects only the treated area, preserving beneficial bacteria elsewhere in the body. We have a 10-year track record of safety and efficacy with more than 100,000 treatments in Canada. These results and SteriWave's easy workflow open a $6 billion US market with substantial growth opportunity across indications and facilities.
Thank you all again to John Norris for his presentation, and Beverly Huss for the fireside chat. I want to thank obviously Joanne, who's my partner in crime, who's actually not feeling so good, but I know she's there. I would like Richard to say the last few words and thank our sponsors, without whom this couldn't be done. And one last thing I want to say is this, this is our second cohort, and we really feel that this model of pillars with mentoring, workshops and demo day is really working. And to our entrepreneurs, whom we have another 2 workshops with, by the way, the idea obviously is for CELS to keep working with you guys long term and get you to where you want to be in terms of investments and partnerships.